in the last a few weeks, the Premier League has seen 10 games being played with the team that won the league from last year. And the top club in England, Manchester City, missing the likes of the influential midfielder Kevin De Bruyne and the recently crowned world player, Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri from the team. They've struggled recently and are just second in the Premier League. Lost their first game in the Premier League over the weekend when they went down 2-1 away at Bournemouth. The team that was expected to chase them down for the title, Arsenal, have also been missing a couple of key players, notably their captain Martin Odegaard, who has missed about 5 weeks of action, and of course Bukayo Saka, who hasn't particularly been at his best, especially since picking up that injury on international duties. And that has led to the question about whether or not, with the way that football is positioned in the Premier League, missing some of your best players could prove very, very crucial for some of the top teams. Toyin Bitoye is still on the line with me. Toyin, for instance, if Arsenal in the past, if they didn't have the likes of Saka and Martin Odegaard, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe could have still managed some games, especially City also without Rodri and De Bruyne. But it now looks like the minute your team gets a little lightweight, the chances that you will drop points are very high.
Yeah, well, injuries are part of the game, and at some point you will always you don't have all your players available at all the time, and that's why it's good for you to plan and have options, and of course be ready to give opportunities to other players to also step up and show that they can be relied upon to deliver. It's just the truth. That's the reality of football, modern football particularly, where you have a lot of games and you have windows so congested, international football within the season, and too many competitions, a lot of games. So you saw the players complaining about a lot of games a few weeks ago. Interestingly, it was even Rodri that was leading the charge about going on strike and not playing some games if the body doesn't carry him. Unfortunately, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So injuries are part of the game, and that's why clubs recruit a lot of players and get options in all those positions and give opportunities to some other players to step up and also show that they can deliver. So it's part of the game, and at that level, you don't give an excuse that you are missing key players. That's why your team is not doing well. You just have to get going, get other players to fill in, and try to get the result for your fans, and try to win trophies at the end of the season. That's the crucial nature of club football these days.
All right. Do you think, though, personally, that some of the top Premier League managers are a little maybe stubborn? You look at City and they've got Erling Haaland, who you feel if he gets injured, City haven't got a recognised forward who can replace him. In the case of Arsenal, they've got Bukayo Saka on the right, and if he gets injured, there isn't any particular sub who can do mostly half of what he can do. Knowing that these guys are very important, the failure to get adequate backup in terms of those two clubs, does that maybe surprise you a bit?
Well, for City, the manager is pretty experienced, and I know sometimes how he draws up his squad. He tries to get 2-3 players for every position, and he tries to adapt his team to play in ways that can help you to cover up for the absence of some of the other players that they have. So yes, Alan, for the number of goals he scores, is a big miss if he's not on the pitch. But Pep Guardiola has been able to, craft different styles, different formations, play with, sometimes no recognizable forward, and still gets the results. And the same applies for Arsenal. Don't forget Arteta. I mean, for many years worked under Guardiola, so they know how to adapt their squad to those different formations, play without some of those key personnel, and still try to get the result. But the bottom line is, these teams have excellent scouting departments, and what they do is to look at every position on the pitch and try to get options for those positions in case There are injuries to some of the key players who are on the pitch. Don't forget that the year that City won the Champions League, Kevin De Bruyne was injured for most of that season, and they were still able to adapt and play, and he came in and looked like a new signing at some point in the season. So that's how they work. They adapt and they get options in different positions. They promote players from the youth team, and they get going. Club football at these modern times is so result-oriented. A lot of money is involved that you don't give any excuse for not getting the results.
All right, one final bit of question I have to ask you, obviously. Do you feel like in the Premier League the competition is getting so tight that things you could get away with a few seasons ago, you seemingly cannot get away with it this time around, especially in terms of the injuries that some of the top clubs are? What do you think the impact of some very important players could be this season?
Yeah, this season is a lot tougher than I initially anticipated, and that's because I look at the teams at the bottom and I look at how they fight, and I look at the results they've been picking up in the last couple of games, and look at Southampton. You're looking at Leicester City. You're looking at Ipswich, and you're looking at the kind of results they've been grinding out in the last couple of weeks. And this season is going to be a lot more difficult, more competitive than one would have anticipated. And then you look at Nottingham Forest, how they are trying to push up into the top level and all of that. So it's a very, very tough season. So don't be surprised in January, clubs have an opportunity of looking at their squad, strengthening their squad, freshen up your squad. If you know that there's a key player missing, you probably look for a replacement, and then try to get the advantage over the other team. There is little room for error in the Premier League. But, I mean, it's the margin for error is you can't afford to just make mistakes and because you'll be punished for whatever mistakes you make. It's really tough. And as I said at the beginning, there is no way you will miss a few players at some point of the season. And that's when the opportunity knocks on the manager to bring out his ingenuity and then dig deep into what he's able to offer as a manager to bring somebody else to fill in and still get the same level of result. Don't forget what we say about big teams. A big team is a team that is able to provide almost the same level of quality on the pitch and from the bench. So that's what these Premier League clubs live by. There's a lot of money in the Premier League. It's a lot more competitive. It's very tough. It's a very ruthless league, and managers have to be on top of their game all the time. Players have to be on top of their game all the time, and whatever will help you to get the advantage, to get the results, you just go for it.
All right, thank you very, very much for talking to us, Tony Bitoye.
Always a pleasure, Tolu. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, there you have the former Super Eagles media officer, Tony Bitoye, talking to us on Afrosport Now in Focus. And that is the much we can take on the show today. My name is Tolu Shotari. Thank you very, very much for watching. We're back with a fresh package tomorrow.